So good morning, evening, everyone. Thank you so much for taking your time and joining us today. This is the second webinar in the series. It's about building super efficient supply chain. Kind request, any questions, please feel free to use the chat box and post the questions, and we will revert to you towards the end in the Q&A segment. Appreciate your patience. And so let's get going. So today's focus, our agenda, right? It's all about how is it we're going to build the super efficient supply chain and why it matters. In line with the same, we're going to touch upon applications like planning, PLM, and WMS. Obviously, we'll understand its various benefits in today's webinar. So before we kickstart the discussion, right, let's have a quick overview. So a quick question to the audience, right? So have you ever wondered what happens behind the scenes when we place an order in a website? For instance, let's say placing an order for the latest iPhone, right? Or once you're done placing it. If you look into the website, right, there are a lot of product specifications available, the colors, the variants, the stock availability, and when exactly it will be delivered. And once the order is placed, again, the other complexities arise, like the order orchestration and other processes. So we can understand, right, the level of complexity that's involved with so many applications coming together for the flawless execution. But again, is it as seamless as it appears? Certainly not, because there are certain challenges, right? And supply chains and the leaders who manage these programs are always under enormous pressures. If you look at it, the demand patterns are very volatile. So challenge here is retailers have to anticipate the demand without having to overstock or miss out the opportunities. It's easier said than done. Then we have supply chain disruptions as well due to delays or shortages, something that we have seen in the past with COVID or with very recently with the tariff revisions, right? Or the global retailers who rely just on South Asian countries, mostly, they had to revisit their sourcing strategies. And there's always ask that we have to deliver faster and within reasonable means. So how's that we address these issues and what is super efficiency all about, right? So let me ask the audience, right? If I have to ask you, how's it you can describe the super efficiency in one word? Let's hear from you. Alex or Zen, if you can post the answers here, please, for us. Okay. Until we get to hear the answers, let's get going. Super efficiency is what helps transition the supply chain to being optimized and accurate, error-free, basically. Ultimately, it all boils down to how is that we save cost and cut down time. We're all looking for the return on investment, isn't it? So we're trying to build this resilient network of systems that can withstand the disruptions without impacting the end customer service. And customer is the king or the queen, not to offend the ladies, also myself. So this is where all the apps we're going to talk about shortly, right? Our planning, PLM, and WMS, and how they form the backbone of transformation process and how is it they're going to help us. So with these applications, we can make use of demand forecasting to reduce the stockouts, overstocking kind of issues, and then we accelerate our product introduction to the market, cut down on delays as well, right? And with WMS, we implement the end-to-end optimizations, all the process starting from receiving until the products are shipped. And to accelerate the efficiency, apart from these apps, we also require certain additional technology enablers that'll help us in proactive decision making. For instance, we can leverage AI or machine learning to make the forecast smarter, IoT and robotics that bring in the real-time precision into the warehouse, and cloud platforms, what do I say, right? They help in getting together all these applications into one seamless ecosystem. So in a nutshell, what we're trying to say is we can make our supply chain efficient by making sure it's optimized, smart, and ensure that it's future-proof and we scale it accordingly. But how do we do that? So that's what we're going to decode today. So we've spoken about a lot of factors, right? All the applications, the technology, and so on. But another important factor for us to achieve the super efficiency, apart from the technology and processes, is people, you and us. So I'd like to introduce our people, our speakers, Narsa Reddy, Abhinav, and Suprabha. Together, they carry decades of experience in the customer retail transformation journeys, and they have been the forefront of leveraging all these platforms we're going to speak about today. So with that, let's get the ball rolling. But before that, let's understand the need to unify these apps, right? So how's it these apps are going to get together or help us or provide the benefits, right? So let's hear it from our speakers.
Yeah, thank you, Meena. So thank you for setting the stage for us. Good morning, good evening, where are you from? So I'll start from why integration matters for all these three systems, right? So integrating these three systems and is a crucial for modern enterprises, the retailers. So though these three systems are individually powerful, can create silos when they are not connected. So the integration ensures information flows from seamlessly from product design to planning and then execution in the warehouse. So right now, if you see in many of the businesses or many of our clients still using these systems separately, like product designers using the PLM system and demand planners using some forecasting platform, and of course the warehouse managers relies on the WMS system. So they do their jobs well, but it's not together. Um, so what integration does and what integration uh, reduces delays, right? So right now the product data moves through email chains or spreadsheets. So whereas the integration replaces with it automation when when a product is designed and approved in the PLM system, the same data flows into the planning and WMS systems. So like no waitings, no errors, no more miscommunications or rework, right? Again, it will also enable our real-time data sharing. So which means all the systems from design to warehouse can see the same data, the single truth of data. So this covers us the no surprises at the last minute, at the no mislabelings, or the no last minute changes, right? And the integration helps us to respond quickly to change when there is a sudden demand spike in few of the items or the few of the categories. So we can, or maybe a supplier issue, or a supplier not able to deliver the items which we ordered, right? So those can be, the action can be instant. So with the data we have with integration, so we will be respond to the change quickly. So that way the integration is not about the IT efficiency, whereas it's about the enabling the business to move forward with smart. Like so as I'll hand over to Abhinav to explain how this integration delivers.
Eh, Thanks, Nasa. Yeah, so we're going to talk about how this integration works and delivers. So let's imagine a new product is ready for launch, right? If we have this integration in place, like each system, so we are going to focus on PLM and planning and WMS today, right? So how does integration between these three systems work, right? And what does it bring to the table? So the PLM system, let's say, completes the design of the new product and attribution and all the different phases involved in the PLM, right? And pushes the final product details into planning. Now, planning system updates, demand forecasts, allocation strategies. It does all the risk-aware planning, right? And then we have everything ready for launch, right? And then WMS also gets once the product is design ready and ready to launch, we'll send the WMS some information where it prepares different processes in WMS. So data like SKU data, storage instructions, picking logic. So all of these processes, whatever these processes require, we'll be sending that. So these systems are now creating a digital thread. So there'll be one continuous flow of data and like very minimal or no manual handoffs at all, right? So and on top of that, you will have a lot of flexibility to get to create automated workflows in between these systems, right? As soon as a product moves from design complete to ready to launch, uh, system kicks off. So we have a system in place, right? So it kicks off planning, triggers replenishments, configures a warehouse, right? All of these things happen automatically. Um, so with this kind of system in place, we have some strategic capabilities as well, right? So Integrated systems like this unlocks more than just automation. They give the business power to plan smarter, right? You can be ready for anything, as Narsa was saying earlier. You don't need to manually check across all the three systems. Let's say I'm a stakeholder in WMS. I want to see what's going on with the new product that's coming, right? And I want to be prepared. Now you have that data available to you instantly, and what phase of the product it is, which will have a significant effect to my domain, right? So yeah, this system gives you a way to make decisions on a data backed process, and very quickly, like everyone stays aligned as well. Yeah, I think, yeah, I'll hand over to Suprabha.
Thanks, Abhinav. So now let's talk about like what are the benefits organization is going to achieve, right, after we integrate all the three systems. So first point is there is efficiency, because without integrating, team will spend time in aligning and validating the data. So after we integrate all the three systems together, right, we can focus more on the execution part, right? The second point I want to highlight is there is accuracy, and there will be improvement in the accuracy, because when we have the forecast data from the planning and also the product information, right, what we get from PLM, it is also up to date. So when we have this data, the warehouse, it will definitely operate with fewer errors. And third point would be it drives the cost savings because of the optimized inventory levels, reduced returns in the system, and also like efficient warehouse operations, right? All these things will lead to a significant cost savings in the supply chain. So the fourth point is it directly impacts the customer satisfaction, because when we have the products which are launched faster, and when we have the stockouts which are like reduced, and also with all these things, right, deliverables what we achieve are more reliable. So, and most importantly, right, by integrating all the three systems, it makes the supply chain future ready. So, which means it will be able to adopt to like AI, IoT, and advanced analytics much more seamlessly, because the data foundation is already connected between the three systems. So, when we look at the bigger picture, the benefits of integration, it's not just like integrating three IT systems together. Basically, they translate that into a real competitive advantage in the supply chain. Yeah.
So this sounds more like that superhero movie, right? Where all the superheroes are trying to come together. Individually, also they have their powers, right? They are good on their own, but once they all come together, that Iron Man, that Hulk, right? So we can smash all the challenges. So yeah,
Yes.
great to hear that. So let's move on with the essentials of supply chain planning. Yes, Narsa.
Yep. So supply chain planning has become the backbone of modern retail and consumer businesses, right? So with raising customer expectations, the global disruptions, and increasing complexity within the data, the outside the maybe the weather expectations, the regional politics, geopolitics, I would say. So the companies has to move beyond the traditional planning tools, right? So I wanted to highlight few things in this slide. So more importantly, so why uh, retailers are investing more in AI driven platforms, and what are the essential for supply chain planning today, right? So let's talk about the AI powered planning. So if you talk about the traditional planning, so they are more rely on the historical data. So like you have to have the historical data of sales receipts, and then you have to do some manual adjustments. Then you will come to a forecast number. So that will not be more efficient. Whereas if you integrate some AI powered tools within the predictive analytics, does the machine learning, or the real-time signals, whether it would be the POS data you have, the competitors information you have, the competitor promotions, weather, like that, right? So this allows companies to forecast better. The demand would be more accurate, and there would be we can sense the demand disruptions early, and we can respond them quickly. And end-to-end visibility, right? So visibility across the supply chain is no longer an optional one. So it is a must thing for every retailer. So from supplier constraint to warehouse stock and customer demand. So business needs transparency everywhere, right? So this breaks the silos and improve decision making again. So in the recent times, right? So we are seeing the leading retailers investing heavily in planning platforms because the supply chain is directly tied to customer experience and the profitability. So if you have the better planning, the better accuracy planning in place, obviously the numbers would be better, the profitability increases. So leaders know that the agility and speed of the execution are competitive differentiators. And so overall, so supply chain planning today is not is about much more than forecasting. It's all about enabling agility, resilience, right? And so yeah, this is the reason, main reason for why leading retailers are investing more on next generation platforms. Um, yeah,
So basically, planning is like the brain, right? A digital brain behind the supply
Digi-
chain, right? Okay, wonderful.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So let's look at some of the planning enablers of planning and excellence, right? So from demand fluctuation to supply shortages, the geopolitical changes, right? So these are all the disruptions we face regularly in every retailer. So to thrive, businesses need planning processes that are not only efficient but also intelligent enough, right? So again, so I spoke about this AI-driven forecasting, right? So the traditional forecasting is no longer work. So that will be there will be no time to act immediately on the manually. So the AI forecasting leverages the advanced machine learning, real-time demand signals, the external data such as weather, promotions, the social media trends, right? So this will give us a more accurate demand. This reduces the excess inventory, and avoid the stockouts. And I want to talk about this integrated planning. So the planning is also often siloed. So we have different teams, right? So sales, supply, finance, operations. So these are all separate and different works on different processes. So if we have an integrated system which can unifies all these into one version of the truth, so that creates alignment across the functions and definitely ensures the execution matches our the business strategy. So definitely the outcome would be the executives can make the decision faster, and there will be fewer conflicts between the departments, right? And scenario planning and what if analysis. So so we are seeing the future is uncertain. So definitely one plan will not be enough, right? So this scenario planning allows our businesses to stress test plans. Like, what if my demand for a category increases by 15%? Right. So what if my transportation cost increases by so and so percentage? Right. So the business has to ready for these kind of scenarios. Then only like so if we have the scenario, these many scenarios in place, so if any of the scenarios occurs, the business can choose the best path immediately. So the scenario planning builds the resilience and agility in decision making, right? So to have a system like this, so that would be cloud native and that's scalable. So if we have a system ready that is not scalable, that won't work in this uh, time, right? So it allows, so if you have the scalable system ready, it allows our businesses to scale globally, expand to multiple geographies, right? So to conclude, together the all these four pillars empower organization to move from reactive firefighting to a proactive one. with data-driven decision making. Yep. Yeah. So I'll take some time and so explain about how O9 platform powers super efficient planning here. Right? So we have been hearing about O9 platform as this is the leader in Gartner 2024 for supply chain planning. Right? So the supply chain world is volatile, as we mentioned, so tariff. So we have been hearing one word tariff from last few months and the disruptions, changing customer demand, right? Customer pressure and constant challenges. So how AI powered planning or the own platform supports the tariffs, right? So let's say, for example, we are sourcing an item from one of the countries, and so that country has affected with tariffs by so and so percentage. So ultimately, that will be the item landing cost would be more, that would be increased. So definitely that will directly impacts the retailer revenue. Right? So how can we manage these tariffs in O9, right? So we will have different scenarios for sourcing uh, within the platform. Like, hey, so what if my number one sourcing country or the sourcing the other source manufacturer shuts the plant? So what would be the next option? So I will have a plan for it, and definitely the business will choose the best one based on the cost impact. So if you have the real-time scenario planning, right? So what if again the demand spikes in one region, the demand like so what if a supplier shuts down of one of their plants? So this for these kind of situations, Onan helps simulate and optimize responses immediately. So with this, right? So AI enables smarter, faster, and more resilient decision making. So if you go to the digital brain, right? So Onan has the third pillar of digital brain. So we call it as enterprise knowledge graph. So this is think of it as the nervous system for the platform, right? So what it does exactly? So it does the multi-dimensional models. Like we have to load products, locations, suppliers, where we are getting items from, and who are our customers, right? So how do we make hierarchy between all these? Hey, my product hierarchy is this. I have a brand for it, I have a division for it, I have a class, and definitely the lower system like SKU level, right? So these models can be done using EKG, that is Onan's digital brain, and we can do fast aggregation and disaggregation. So what does that mean is you can directly, it means you can instantly zoom in and zoom out. Let's say you're planning for a country, and immediately you can see like what is my you can drill down to a store level information. Let's say you're planning for India. Hey, I'm gonna target for 1,000 item sales in this country, right? So where do you exactly want to sell them, right? So if you zoom in or zoom out at store level, you can exactly get the information at store level. Hey, you are gonna sell one item in Hyderabad, this store, right? And it accepts all sorts of data, whether it is structural, non-structured data, whatever it is. So generally, if you go back and see, the traditional systems only use the internal data, which is their own sales and receipts data and promotions. When they do promotions, what were their sales, right? But whereas Hone9, right, so can also integrate with unstructured data like weather patterns. If you see weather are all changing, and social media trends, so what is the trending news today, and how are our competition or competitor actions are, right? So if they are giving any promotion on so and so items, so definitely our sales will be low on that items, right? And how about POS data So these will give a much richer planning context. So obviously, so to make this happen, so this is uh, O9 is a scalable and cloud native architecture platform. So this has a microservices design, so you can uh, businesses can adopt capabilities step by step without ripping out any legacy systems. Like you can make it step by step. Say, I want to do demand planning first, but I want to use MFP, other system for MFP. Yes, you can do it, right? Uh, to summarize, right? The O9 platform, you can make your supply planning super efficient through these 4 pillars, right? So together, these capabilities allow our companies to anticipate the disruptions early and make faster, smarter decisions. Yep.
Thanks, Nurse. I think there were a lot of key takeaways for the audience with regards to planning. Thanks. So let's
Yeah.
hear from Abhinav what PLM is all about and its importance in our supply chain. Yes, Abhinav.
Thanks, Amina. Yeah, so let's talk about what product lifecycle management is, right? So PLM for short is the system that governs like every stage of product's journey, right? So from initial concept design to design and through manufacturing and market launch and until the eventual retirement. So we are not just managing product data, right? It integrates like lot of domains inside a company, like engineering, design, like manufacturing, suppliers, and the entire supply chain into a single unified view. So this end-to-end visibility, like ensures that everyone involved, from designers to suppliers to fulfillment logistics, right, is working from the same updated information. So which like dramatically reduces confusion, like duplication and rework. Uh, and why is this critical for any retail or like any organization, right? So it's essential because it helps a business focus um, the entire organization on selecting and delivering the right products at the right time, and it helps business to provide those products that align best with strategy, demand, and business goals. And it directly enables faster speed to market, and helping us respond to market opportunities or disruptions with agility. And crucially, by connecting all stakeholders and streamlining data flow, um, like it helps us reduce both cost and risk, like minimizing costly errors, compliance misses, and inventory overruns. Um, all this while preserving a single story, right? Preserving the quality and the brand integrity. We are saying a single story all along. In short, like PLM is not just an IT system, it's a strategic backbone, like that ensures all the teams are moving in the same direction, like at speed and with complete oversight and control across the product's entire life cycle. If you can move on. Yeah. So to talk a little bit more about how AI is changing the entire landscape, right? So beyond like just product selection or design, how does a AI integration in PLM helps to make the process much more excellent and resilient? So AI is not just making PLM smarter, it's transforming like how we make every critical decision, far beyond just choosing the next product to launch. So I'm going to talk about AI-driven scoring models, which is like by an example, right? Best way to learn, best way to understand. So let's picture this, like we are evaluating new suppliers for a seasonal collection, upcoming seasonal collection. So instead of going through the traditional routes, if you have a AI powered PLM system, we can have processes that instantly scores each supplier, cost, um, on-time delivery, and compliance. Like all these metrics, we can instantly make a score for each supplier. And based on particular, let's say it's a winter collection, right? Which supplier has the best score for my winter collection next year? So based on all these metrics and many more metrics that we are capturing in any business, we can instantly make that decision much simpler to make. Um, and let me talk about one more thing here, predictive costing models. Um, so halfway through planning a new launch, so halfway through planning an electronics launch, tariffs suddenly rise on a key component, right? So this is been happening like very casually these days. So what do we do then? So with AI and the PLM system simulates the impact instantly, projecting how the tariff, shifting logistic rates, and like if you want go with a new vendor, how the pricing will affect our margins. Instead of reacting weeks later, teams see the full financial impact on day one, right? We can enable businesses to compare alternatives, select the most profitable path, even pivot to a different supplier if needed. So this transforms cost management from a firefighting mode to future proofing. Um, yeah, and there are a lot of other features as well that we can work towards. But I have a new an actionable framework for super efficiency, achieving super efficiency here. Let's see how that works, right? Let's look at a fashion retailer launching a new eco-friendly product line. Let's see how each step mentioned here enables real efficiency. This works not just for a PLM, this works across business systems and departments. And the first step, like align and enable. So let's say we are working to launch a new organic cotton t-shirts for Earth Day. Now PLM and supply chain teams align by mapping sustainability criteria in the first place, right? And such as organic sourcing, biodegradable packaging, and all these various metrics configuration can be configured into the PLM system. They link the latest supplier audits and certifications directly into the product records so that they can be used later, right? So everyone from designers to buyers see the same targets and partner information from day one. Then we optimize, right? So we optimize the processes that we came up with in the align and enable stage. Next, teams working on the solution, right, that we built in the first phase. We They spot delays caused by any approvals or delays caused by any manual process, and we work to optimize those by automation, either design reviews within PLM. So let's say when a new T-shirt variant is ready, right, notifications go instantly to the right stakeholders for the digital sign-off. So as a result, that we reduce the bottlenecks drastically, right? Then we come to, once we optimize the system in place, we can leverage AI and any other cutting edge technologies for that matter. So let's say when it's time to select suppliers, retailers use AI driven scoring, as I was talking about, right? Which is now built into our PLM. For example, AI flags a supplier who meets price and quality, but falls short on eco certifications, right? And or the material that this particular supplier is sharing with us is not meeting our configuration or requirements for the organic cotton t-shirts we are trying to launch for the Earth Day. And yeah, so by by leveraging AI, our team can pivot instantly to better aligned and suitable vendor, right? Uh, like also reducing the bottlenecks here and like making the product launch much faster. Then once we sort all of these steps out, right, now we have a smooth running system which is leveraging AI, which is doing all sorts of stuff. We are optimized it already. So now we measure and improve. So once we have the production ready solution, and now the retailer tracks on-time material deliveries and order cycle times in an automatically updated dashboard. Like everything is visible to you at one place. So when a shipping delay on recycle labels like is appearing on your dashboard, the data triggers a fast process tweak. Like we can come up with a easier way to fix those. So for the next batch, so we can switch to a local supplier, right? Or we can convey the same messages to the supplier in a very faster manner. And the best part is we can capture all of this in the PLM so that for the next time we have these scores enabled. These metrics are captured in the system. So we have that will go into the calibration the next time. Now all that's left is scale and adapt because we have optimized the flows, we have leveraged AI, we are trying to improve the process as well. Now all that's left is like to scale and adapt as per the business requirement. And we have documented everything for the eco-friendly t-shirts that we are going to launch. So when the time comes, right, uh, according to the marketing plan, scaling up to a launch in the summer is seamless. Will appear seamless, and new suppliers are onboarded in days using the templates and workflows, and new products will be much faster to launch. So this hands-on approach, right, shows how each pillar of framework builds not just theory, but a repeatable playbook for growth and efficiency. As I said, like this can be used in multiple domains, not just PLM. So yeah, hope.
Yeah, so thanks, Abhinav. I think there are a lot of benefits of PLM that we can make use of to transition our supply chain into an efficient one. Truly agree with you, and this actionable framework truly helps. So yes, so let's hear from Suprabha all the benefits of warehouse management essentials. Yes, Suprabha.
Yes, Alpna. So let's start by looking at like what a warehouse management system really does and why it is very much essential for business today, right? So it's like warehousing, right? It has evolved from being just a simple storage space for inventory. So today it acts as a central hub of business operations where we store the inventory, we receive the inventory, we store the inventory, we organize it, and then it'll be ready for the order fulfillment and shipping. So to manage all these complex high volume functions in the warehouse, right? That too, if you have to manage all these functions smoothly, a business cannot just rely on a manual process, right? So that is where we have this warehouse management system which comes into picture. So let's see what all it does, right? The first point is it control and optimize the warehouse operations. So warehouse management system, it basically help to track everything from the receiving till we ship the inventory out from the warehouse. For example, like instead of manually recording like where the item need to be stored, the system directs the user that this is where the exact location of the inventory should be. The second point is it will deliver the real-time inventory visibility across the supply chain, because this means we always know like what is happening in the warehouse, right? With the real-time inventory visibility. For example, imagine a retailer, right? During the holiday season, like without having the real-time visibility, they could oversell the products which are actually out of stock in the warehouse, right? So WMS, it can prevent this kind of scenarios. And the third point is it enables the warehouse automation. There are various automation tools available in the market and also the robotics. So WMS, right, it can integrate with all of this so that the warehouse tasks like receiving, sorting, picking, and packing, right, all these processes can be faster, and also it can be more accurate. And the last point is WMS can integrate across the supply chain. So it cannot work as a standalone system, right? It has to connect with the ERP system, transportation management system, and planning, PLM, so that, and even with the suppliers. To make sure that everyone from the supplier till the consumer all are in the same page, and at the same time all are updated, right? So now let's see like what are the business benefits we get, right? uh, like I'll highlight some of them here. One is like enhanced operational efficiency because of the by implementing WMS and fewer bottlenecks and faster turnaround in the system, and better decision making with all the data insights what we have. And definitely with all this, there is an increased customer satisfaction because customers will get their orders in the right time, and they'll also get the right product. So yeah, the next slide. Now I have mentioned some of the business benefits. Now let's dive deeper into the specific benefits what we get from WMS. Okay, there are 6 points I've highlighted. Let me discuss some 4 of them here. Okay, the first one is cost reduction. Like by minimizing the manual errors, because we implement the automation, right? By minimizing the manual errors and optimizing the warehouse process, right? Companies can cut down unnecessary expenses, right? If I have to take some example, one of the manufacturer, right? They have reduced the inventory carrying cost by up to 20% by making use of the real-time tracking in the warehouse. And the second point is inventory accuracy. We can make use of the barcode scanning or RFID, right? By making use of all these devices in the warehouse, stock mismatches are drastically reduced. Like think of a grocery chains where accurate inventory ensures that they will not disappoint the customers with the empty shelves in the warehouse, right? And also the optimized space utilization. This is one of the biggest challenge we have in the warehouse. So WMS actually suggests like where do we have to store the maximum efficiency in the warehouse, right? Where do we have to store the inventory for to get the maximum efficiency. For example, imagine a warehouse where it is dealing with like fast moving items, right? So the warehouse will suggest like that fast moving item should be close near to the loading dock. So this simple rearrangement in the warehouse space, right, it can save number of hours on daily basis. So also we have some other benefits like the order fulfillment, because orders are picked, packed, and shipped with very less errors, and the costly return process is also reduced. And definitely the labor productivity is increased because it will balance the workload across the staff, so that no one in the warehouse is overburdened. At the same time, all are occupied and maximum output is received. On the right hand side, you see some quantifiable outcomes from after implementing the WMS system. The first one is because of the automation and optimized workflow in the warehouse, like 20 to 30% of faster order processing is achieved. And also because of the smarter allocation and also the reduced manual effort, right? The labor cost, it is drastically reduced by 15 to 25%. And another point is like real-time visibility across the network. This will give the managers like full control over the inventory, shipment, sales data, order data, and everything. And finally, like 30 to 40% of fewer stock out and delays, meaning products are always available in the warehouse. Basically, whenever customer need them, right, it is always available in the warehouse. So these numbers, right, it represents like what the proven outcomes that WMS has delivered over the years in the supply chain. Should we go to the next slide, Amina? Yeah. So in the next slide, right, I'll cover like how we can drive the efficiency across the warehouse operations. So before talking about the efficiency, right, let's talk about some of the challenges what we face in the warehouse. The first challenge I want to highlight is overstocking and understocking. I would say this is like probably the most frequent and also the painful issue in the warehouse. It is mainly because either because of the poor inventory management in the warehouse, or it can be because of inaccurate demand forecasting, right? So whenever there is a overstocking in the warehouse, right, it will lead to increase in the storage cost, because we'll have to simply store the extra inventory in the warehouse. And in some cases, especially like if warehouse is using the perishable items, right, or like seasonal goods, it will simply lead to a wastage in the inventory. On the other hand, if there is a understocking in the warehouse, these things will lead to a back orders, because we will not be able to fulfill the warehouse orders, and also missed opportunities. And all these things will definitely lead to a poor customer satisfaction. Another challenge I can think of is warehouse fulfillment discrepancy. This is usually when it will happen is like the customer has placed some order, but will not be able to provide. We will not be able to deliver the order which customer has placed. Instead, we may deliver wrong size, color, or completely a different product itself. Right? This kind of mistakes happen in the warehouse when warehouse is relying on the manual process, right? Such errors like all this kind of errors, right? It'll result in returns, rework, and definitely the loss of trust from the customer. So now that we've spoken about the challenges we have faced in the warehouse, right? Let's try to understand how we can drive the efficiency across the warehouse operations, right? So basically, we'll try to understand the journey of inventory within the warehouse, that is from receiving, put away, picking, packing, shipping, and finally the analytics. So let's try to highlight one key improvement area in each of this, right? With some examples. The first process in the warehouse is receiving. So let's start with the receiving first. So if you make any errors in the receiving itself, right, it is definitely going to impact other process, right? So the key efficiency driver I can think of is the inbound validation with RFID. So instead of manually scanning the barcodes or checking the paper-based list set, RFID tags, it will allow the shipments to be validated as and when it moves through the dock doors. For example, one of the largest retail chain in the US, right, they have deployed RFID at their distribution center. Earlier, like unloading and validating, it was taking around 2 to 3 hours for them. With RFID enabled gates, the system automatically validated all the cartons in just few minutes, right? So, which reduced the time taken to move the inventory from docking to receiving by approximately 60%. Okay. The next, what is the result here? Definitely the faster inventory availability, and also the manual error is reduced, and also the far fewer error in the very first step of the warehouse process itself. So the next step in the warehouse is put away process. So like after we receive the inventory, we'll have to move them into a permanent location, right? So this traditional warehouse, what we have, they still rely on heavily on like forklifts or manual labor, basically to move the items into the permanent location. So this will not only takes time, but it will also add some congestion the location, right? Because and also the safety risk, because we are dealing with the heavy items. So here we can make use of automated material movement. That is like autonomous mobile robots which are available, right? We can make use of that, and this is transforming the efficiency in the warehouse management system today. So these smart robots, right? It can pick up the pallets or cartons and place them directly into the designated location. And this process is guided by WMS. So one of the Indian e-commerce company, right? They were able to, by making use of the AMRs, they were able to improve the storage accuracy by up to 99%, and the walking time rate that is reduced by up to 70%. So the takeaway is very clear here. Automation in put away, it will not only speed up the storage process, but it will also make sure that labors are more productive and also safe. So when it comes to picking and packing, right, this is the most labor intensive process in the warehouse, right? So we can make use of the cluster and batch picking process. So warehouse users, right? For example, if we are dealing with the e-commerce orders, they can pick items for multiple orders at one trip. So basically, before even we start the picking, we can group the orders logically, and items are picked simultaneously into different locations or totes. So by making use of this, right, it will dramatically reduces the travel time. For example, in a festive sale, right, an online market, they've switched from single order picking to a cluster picking. So instead of walking the same location 5 times, workers now walk only once, but they will be able to do the picking for 5 different customers. So this has improved their picking rate by up to 40%. Okay, and if I have to tell about the packing, we can use of the print and apply system, where just by installing the conveyor mounted print and apply system, right, it will automatically generate the shipping labels, and there will not be any manual intervention needed here. So even this process will increase the speed, accuracy, and also the labor savings. After we do the picking, packing, right, the next step in the warehouse is shipping. So that is where usually we see the delays, right? Because we'll have this cost overruns, or sometimes the wrong carrier is also chosen. So we can select the optimized carrier by integrating the transportation management system with WMS. Like in some of the WMS, the transportation management system is inbuilt. Otherwise, we can make use of the external TMS system. So what it does is it will evaluate the real-time carrier capacity, it will evaluate the rate, and also the delivery commitment. By considering all these things, it will compare the freight rate with all the carriers available, and it will assign the best carrier for each of the shipment. So if I have to take some example, like Eurofin manufacturing company, right? They have integrated TMS with their WMS system. Earlier, the carrier assignment process was a manual process. Now it is the TMS takes care of assigning the carrier. So by making use of this, they have reduced the shipping cost by up to 15%, and also they have improved their delivery time, right, by 20%. So this shows that by making use of the right decision tool, it can turn shipping from like a cost center into a competitive advantage. The last point is warehouse analytics. This is basically the brain behind all the warehouse process. So it's about like turning the huge amount of warehouse data, whatever we have, like inventory data, order data, sales data, equipment data, so everything into some actionable insights. So this actionable insight, right, it will help to improve the efficiency, and it will reduce the cost, and also accuracy is improved. So the traditional report, it will only shows like what went wrong yesterday, right? It will not say like what is going to happen in the future. But by making use of the predictive analytics in the warehouse, we can actually see looking ahead, we can find some option to prevent the problems in the warehouse. So one of the 3PL provider, right, they've used predictive analytics for their order and labor data. So this system forecasted some spikes during the weekend. So it automatically suggested some additional labor shift. So instead of reacting to the orders, right, they proactively scheduled the stuff. So with this, they've reduced their SLA by missed SLAs by 30%. So to wrap up, like the warehouse efficiency, right, it's not just about one big change, right? It is about small or some smarter improvements in each stage of the warehouse. So by when all these processes are combined, it will create a warehouse that is not just a faster, but it will also be cheaper and more adaptable in the supply chain. Yeah, that's what I have.
So thanks, Suprabha, for walking us through the end-to-end processes very clearly. So moving on, now that we've understood the what, right? What of these all applications and why is that we're going to integrate? Let's understand where all these applications come together, right? What are the critical handshakes and what is the information transition flow that happens? So let's hear from our speakers again. Yeah. That's why you're speaking on mute.
Yeah, I'll talk from the planner perspective, right? The planner role is to align the demand and supply and ensure making sure the right products at the right place at the right time, right? So for us, integration with the PLM means we forecast based on their actual product attributes. So what are their product attributes? What are the sizes, colors? So which are the targeting audience, and what are all the launch dates there? And again, with the integration with WMS, right? So this ensures that our supply plans are executable. So we are not just creating forecast in isolation, but making making sure some warehouse can support those plans, right? So without this integration, the demand may outpace the supply, or inventory may sit idle, right? So if we have the right product attributes in place, so we can plan better and the forecast accuracy would be better.
Right. So yeah, I agree with what you said, Narsa. Like, so from a PLM standpoint, as you are saying, right, the integration is critical at even at like product readiness stage. So PLM defines the product specifications, like size, packing, like handling instructions, and all the product attributes. We can do all that, but if this data doesn't flow to planning, right, it's a moot point. And like even with WMS, it's the same. Like we are creating one product with some specifications, and there are instances where we receive a different specifications from the supplier on the receiving altogether, right? So all of these needs to be shared well in advance, and so it helps like the warehouses to work efficiently, store, pick, and ship. And so our main point, touch point, is to make sure like accurate and detailed product data is handed off early and updated continuously if any changes occur throughout the life cycle.
Yes. So when it comes to warehouse, right, we live in the execution. So our biggest integration need is the real-time visibility. Like if we need the PLM data, we definitely need the PLM data to WM so that whenever the new SKU or packaging arrives, right, our system know like how to handle them, and there'll not be any surprises in the warehouse. And at the same time, we need the data from planning also. That is to understand the demand priorities, like what we should ship first or where inventory should be allocated and how to avoid the shortages. So at the same time, WMS also will send the feedback loop back to the planning and also PLM to make sure that like if there is any changes in the packaging and that is impacting the warehouse, or if you're facing any picking errors in the warehouse, right, all those things need to be, or if you're facing any shortages because of the inaccurate demand planning, we need to send those information also to the to PLM and planning system. So basically, we just don't execute. We receive it. We receive the information, and we also send the feedback back to all the two systems.
Okay, for instance, let's assume you're launching new sneakers into the market, right? That's a business requirement. Then how is that all these three applications will come together? I believe from PLM standpoint, we're going to design this sneakers, come up with a specification with regards to packaging, materials, and so on, right? Whenever we're going to share this information with planning. And planning, I believe it's going to come up with all the what if
Yes.
scenarios and the forecasts, right? For the sneakers,
Yes.
how much inventory is to be stored, right? To avoid issues like overstocking and so on. And Suprabha, I believe in WMS, we're going to make sure that we receive all these orders, the sneakers, and pack it or ship it across to the right stores and continue with the end-to-end processing, right? Optimize
Yes.
from receiving until you ship the sneakers to the market or to the customer. Okay,
Right.
wonderful. So let's move on to the next use case. Let's understand, right, how the synergy is created between all these applications with a case study.
Yeah. Yeah. So we recently came across this kind of situation where we have a US based lifestyle retailer had a broad portfolio of different consumer products across multiple categories, geographies, and right, so they face the complexity of managing diverse product while ensuring their timely fulfillment, right? So this is based on the challenges were like inaccurate demand forecast that created inventory imbalances. The frequent product design changes were not immediately reflected in supply chain that delays. I mean, the from PLM, so that made delays and that has led to delays. Right? The poor inventory visibility in high fulfillment errors caused higher costs, and obviously that is ultimately uh, poor customer experiences, right? So this was a challenge we faced, and we came up with a solution. So Abhinav can explain. So what we have done for the same.
Yeah, thanks for that
Yeah.
setting the context, Nasa. So coming to the solution, right? So we part of it evolves from the fact that we observed a lot of gaps between these systems. So we decided to integrate all these systems, PLM planning and WMS, into one digital thread. And that meant like connecting product design, supply chain planning, and warehouse execution into seamless flow of information. So as soon as so here's how it works, right? So as soon as new product designs or updates are released in the PLM, this information flowed directly into planning system, right? Now, whenever a new product is ready and inflowed into the planning, we have planners working on it with the latest product data, creating forecasts and replenishment plans. Same with planning and WMS. So we have everything flowing to uh, each and every system, and we have these plans into WMS, which could allocate storage. Like there is a product coming in the next week, so we have a lot of storage capacity that needs to be reserved at that point in time. So and like to set picking strategies once the product is in warehouse, it kicked off all those processes. And then yeah, which basically like evolved this into a true transformation. um, the beauty of this integration is that no system was working in isolation anymore, right? And product design updates immediately shaped planning, and planning guided warehouse operations, and warehouse has its own process executing and provided ground level reality back to planners. So this is a complete loop that's forming here. And so we are transforming from siloed connected systems to siloed systems to complete connected systems. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe super that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's move on to like the most exciting part of this use case, right? What results did client actually see, like after integrating all the three systems? So the outcomes, whatever they've noticed, it's like very much impressive. Because of better stock availability and fewer costly errors. The 35% improvement in inventory accuracy is noticed, and also because of design changes which are like moved instantly into both planning and execution. There was like 50% reduction in time to market for new products, and also like by giving the customer right product at the right time, and almost like every time the 99% of like order fulfillment rate is achieved. So beyond these metrics, right, the business transformation what they have achieved is like more powerful. They achieved like true end-to-end visibility and agility across the PLM planning and warehouse execution. And they were like standalone system. Now they've connected. They are like connected system after integrating, and they were able to break down all the barriers between the three departments. So it was just not just a technology upgrade, it was like a strategic transformation which by turning like the supply chain into true competitive advantage for business purpose.
So the outcomes are spot on. So it's truly trying to enhance our supply chain into an efficient one, right? With all making use of all these applications. I agree with all of you all. So in the interest of time, let's pick a couple of future trends because our audience will be intrigued and love to hear. Probably we can pick up AI and machine learning. Yes, Narsa? Yeah.
Yeah. For supply chain planning, right? So the future of supply chain planning would be obviously the data-driven technologies to forward and increasingly sustainable. So we have seen COVID, wars, and climate disruptions prove that resilience is no longer an optional one. So we have to be ready for all these scenarios, right? So future planning will incorporate the risk probabilities directly into the optimization model. So what can be done if we encounter with any of these situations, right? So we will be ready. So the organizations or the retailers will be ready prioritizing with multi-sourcing options or buffer strategies or the dynamic safety stocking rates. So these are some of the future trends that will be coming up to balance other to make the supply chain planning efficient.
And probably the AI-driven
Yeah,
design recommendation, something that we can hear from Abhinav as well.
Yeah, I was going to say. So, uh, as Nasa was saying, like it cannot be any longer predictive, right? So we need to evolve with the current trends. As designs evolve, like we have fast fashion in is a big market player right now. So we have the design cycles have drastically reduced in time, right? So as these designs evolve, right, AI suggests different parts, materials, and suppliers that actually fit the brief and right inside the workflow. Like we don't have to create another system that is giving us these answers. So we have AI players that are exploring style variants that fit the need from our product catalog in minutes, and this helps teams to land closer the first time right fit without waiting and going through a different huge processes, right? Each suggestion like this weighs in like cost, lead time, compliance, and performance, and so on, right? We have all these metrics in our system anyway, so we are leveraging AI to get these design recommendations, and we also have like uh, design mockups coming like in a very rapid fashion, like creating very faster iterations, right? All together helping in clearing out the new product bottlenecks or like even adding new variants.
Thank you, Abhinav. Thanks to all our speakers for sharing such wonderful insights and trying to enlighten us all about how to transition our supply chain into an efficient one. So let's move on to the Q&A segment. I already see there are some questions which folks have started posting in. So let me start reading out. What role does demand forecasting play in supply chain management by Saurabh?
yeah. So let me take this. So basically, the demand forecast, right? So it provides the forward looking of visibility, like so what was the customer demands and what is our supply plans to make this meet the demand, and what are our inventory levels and where exactly our financial performance is, right? So basically, this provides early signals of demand across all the products, regions, of course, the channels. So this will make the business to make decision best. So that is the key role, definitely in supply chain of this demand forecast.
Sure, Narsam. So there's another one from Ramesh. What are the KPIs organizations track to see the benefits of O9 demand planning?
Uh, yeah, so once you have the online platform implemented a retailer, so it has to the forecast accuracy has to verify. So what was the accuracy before O9 and after O9, right? So there are few models to verify this accuracy. There is called a MAPE, MAPE, which is a mean absolute percentage error, and we have weighted MAPE. So those are the calculations which gets us to the uh, forecast accuracy. And of course, there are customer service levels, how we increased from X number to Y, and what are our markdown spends basically. So definitely that will be a differentiators in the profits. And the main important thing, the cycle time, the planning cycle time. So let's say in the traditional systems, uh, we have to analyze the data. So it is very tough to analyze the complex data, the large data sets. So once we analyze, it will take some time to have some plan ready. So whereas we have the online platform in place, so this is AI powered, so this automatically uh, analyzes the data regularly. So it will take just hours to make another plan instantly. Yeah,
Sure,
so these are the few
Narsam.
things we can verify once you have
Some of
the
the important
online platform in
KPIs,
place.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So there's another question we have from Zain, and this is tariffs still seem to be changing day to day. How can AI simulate landed cost impacts when tariff or freight rates change mid planning?
I think I'll take this one. So
Yes. Yeah.
uh, this is like a very very frequent scenario, right? This happens very frequently. So usually like we have all this data that we need to feed the AI. So let's say HS codes, tariff schedules, what is the currency between these tariff countries. We have carrier spot rates. What are the spot rates that are changing? And we also have before from our planning stage, we will have the vendor codes to compare between all these vendors. So we feed these to the system in place, our AI system in place, and AI suggests a repriced based on our rules, right? It suggests a repricing, an SKU or like the tariff borne by the supplier or Incoterm scenarios in real time. We can compare modes, routes, and flags like margin at risk. So sourcing can become pivot early to the most profitable path.
Okay, sounds good. And there's another question. Yeah, what to do again with PLM? The question is, if I'm adopting a PLM strategy and I need to show progress ASAP to demonstrate efficiency, which processes should I prioritize to show early wins?
So as I was talking about earlier, right? So you would need a proper end-to-end strategy. So, but if the focus is show the progress ASAP, I would say we need an iterative process that involves AI tooling that is giving you a continuous feedback loop, not just from PLM, but from planning and other systems involved as well, so that you get those results very fast and you have a complete bird's eye view of things that are happening, which makes your process more efficient and also like um, gives you a far better view and far early in the game.
Sure, Vinay, thank you. So there's a WMS question here because WMS closely works with order management system, right? When it comes to the fulfillment and execution process. So what role does WMS play in end-to-end omni-channel fulfillment process?
Yes, I'll take this. So, like when we have the traditional warehouse, right? It usually supports basically one sales channel at a time, like either retail, e-commerce, or not together. So there will be like a little or I would say sometimes no connection between the store inventory or online sales. So this can be easily handled by making use of the omni-channel warehousing. So omni-channel means on warehouse management means like we can handle the order from many different sales channel at like online sales, physical shops, or even from the mobile apps, all from the same warehouse system, because WMS is connected to all the sales channels at the same time, and also there'll be inventory visibility across all these sales channel. So for example, like if a customer buys something online, right, and another customer buys the same item from the store, so by implementing omni-channel, the same warehouse can do the picking, packing, and even shipping for both the orders at the same time. So it will definitely help to manage the inventory better by linking all the sales channel and showing the real-time inventory across all the sales channel. And also there'll be like the faster order processing and fewer errors, and there'll be seamless customer experience, and there'll not the return process, right? Even that will be reduced.
Sure, Suprabha, I totally agree with you. There's another WMS question here. It is, how does a WMS reduce operational costs and improve overall supply chain efficiency?
Yes. So by to reduce the operational cost, right? One thing is we should make use of the automations. So by making use of the automation, the time taken, for the same manual time taken to execute the process, right, that can be reduced. And by having the inventory accuracy across the supply chain, right, so the challenges like overstocking, understocking, these kind of problems can be reduced. So for example, if you have the overstocking in the warehouse, right, we'll simply have to, there'll be a storage cost involved here, right? And if in otherwise, if you have the understocking, then we will have to deal with the returns, right? For example, and also because of the inventory order fulfillment discrepancy, right? Because of that, there'll be a lot of returns from the customer, and we'll have to deal with the return cost. And return process is one of the costliest process in the warehouse, I would say. And also the space utilization, right? By making use of the warehouse, it actually tells the system. For example, if there is a demand, it will tell that we'll have to move the inventory to near to the loading area, right? So that the storage space, right, that is like very well maintained by making use of the WMS. So labor cost is reduced, the storage cost is reduced, and also the return cost that is reduced, and the automation is the key. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing the secret sauce with us, Suprabha, with regards to WMS. So another PLM question we have here. How are sustainability goals encoded in PLM so designers and buyers see them in native workflows?
Right. So we can encode like all of the attributes and constraints, like supplier certifications, different types of there are different types of certifications for suppliers, per material also, and what is the expiry of that particular shelf item, and like is it recycled content, right, or is it restricted? Does it contain any restricted substances on these materials or components? We can enforce these in the system via templates and like different gates that we have in any PLM system, right? And surface them in whenever there is a planning process, right? If we are having, if we select like this has to be, we have a sustainability goal, that now we have the ability to pop these attributes up, like for the plan, for the PLM expert to whoever is designing the product, or like even starting in that process, that comes out in red saying that okay, oh, this is not the right fit. And so we can make these implementations, and these could be very helpful in context of making decisions. And this is just like a few ways to achieve sustainability goals by encoding these flags into the PLM system. Hope that answers it.
Sure, it does, Abhinav. Thank you. So there's another question here. How does AI help in accelerating decision making and help improve the productivity? So this is a generic question across.
Yes, I can take that. So in WMS, right? Yes. So in WMS, like most of the operations in the warehouse, right? It is like time consuming operations. Like we have the warehouse data, like we have the order history, we have the sales data, but but with that data, right? We cannot like actually see what is going to happen in the future. So by making use of the AI-driven forecasting tools, right, it actually decides like what should be the inventory level in the warehouse, and what is the demand which is going to come up in the future. And at the same time, it will also trigger the replenishment task. So the replenishment process, right, is that is one of the, because if warehouse is dealing with the e-commerce orders, right, then it has to fulfill the orders from the active location. So the replenishment task, right, that kind of replenishment task is triggered by the AI-driven replenishment tools with what we have in the warehouse. And also by making use of the AI and machine learning, right, we can improve the receiving process in the warehouse. So like I said earlier, the return process or the receiving process, like when we receive the inventory, we will have to make sure that before moving that into the actual shelves, we need to make sure that that inventory is like inspected well. There should be a quality audit for that. So by checking to check each and every package which comes to the warehouse as a return, it's a time consuming process. And as e-commerce is growing, even the return process is also growing in the warehouse. So it's a time consuming process. So we have this AI driven tools available in the market, which are like, it has a AI driven video. It actually captures the video. It will, based on the item, right? It will actually decide whether if that item, if there is any label is missing, or if there is any package is not proper, or if there is any item breakdown, it will immediately identifies it and it will move to the quality area. If everything is fine, then it will move to the proper location. So these are some of the examples where we can make use of AI in WMS system.
Sure, Suprabha. Thank you very much. Narsa, would you like to add any notes to that, especially considering that there are a lot of AI capabilities embedded within the planning application, right?
Yeah, so I'll explain in an example. So let's
Or
say
if there is any item breakdown, it will immediately identifies it and it will move to the quality.
so let's say I'll take an example of a cool drink company where a sudden demand spike in certain SKUs, like certain maybe buttermilk or the cool drinks. It is based on a sudden heat wave, right? So the AI instantly detects the signals and adjusts their forecast and recommends the reallocating that start. So let's say we have AI also identified few of the low demand regions, and that reallocates to the high demand regions. Whereas instead of like in traditional systems, we have to wait for weekly reports, or planners have to analyze it and then act, right? Whereas if you have any AI system in place, so you can act within hours. So you can generate a plan and send it for approval. So that way it will help.
Sure, Narsa. So there's another question also we have. Where should my company begin when implementing WMS for efficiency gains?
Yes, Sonil. So the first thing is, like, we have to understand the business requirements, and like, without having the WMS, right, what are the pain points they're currently going through. So when we have to clearly define, like, what are the business needs from the WMS, so that we can avoid any implementation issues which is going to happen. The second point is, we need to identify all the key stakeholders. Basically, we'll have to engage all the people who interact with most with the WMS, to make sure that their input and their expectations are always met after the implementation. And the third point is, we'll have plan and prepare, because we have to create a detailed project plan, and we'll have to estimate and make sure that the handover of the software is infrastructure is always ready. And the next point is test and train. We'll have to thoroughly test the system, and at the same time, we'll have to train the warehouse users and ensure that there is going to be a successful implementation. And after we implement, we'll have to make sure we are regularly monitoring the system performance, and continuously, like, refining the system based on the feedback and changing needs what we get from the business. And then once the system is stabilized, right, we can make use of the automations, and we can include the warehouse analytics and AI driven tools, so that that after it is stabilized, we can improve the performance further.
Sure, Suprabha. Wonderful to hear that. So we have another question. What are the critical evaluation criteria in the selection process to ensure the system maximizes the operational efficiency for achieving a super efficient supply chain? Abhinav, would you like to take that? Considering there was a framework also defined, right? So,
Sorry, could you please come again?
yeah. So what are the critical evaluation criteria in the selection process to ensure, in the platform selection process, to ensure the system maximizes the operational efficiency? Basically, how is that we can achieve the super efficiency in a supply chain? What is the important criteria while
Right.
assessing
So
the platform? Yeah.
right. So while doing that, we have to consider the multiple signals that are becoming bottlenecks, right? And to identify and store those information, and try to optimize these pain points, and eliminating these bottlenecks, right? So that's the key step that we need to consider first. And then let's say there has to be a feedback loop without which we won't be getting all these signals between all the systems, right? So that's another key point. And by doing this, and there will be a lot more things that we can do in PLM, which would improve the efficiency of the system altogether. Right?
I think we have to come up with a separate webinar altogether, Abhinav, right, to explain those evaluation criteria, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think we are done with this set of questions. Again, thanks a lot to the speakers for sharing all those wonderful insights, and thanks to our marketing team as well, Alex and Mas, and to leaders for providing all the support that we required. So any closing remarks from our speakers?
Yeah, definitely. Any retailers who are facing demand forecast issues, inventory turns, right? Any WMS issues which would then need integration of these three systems, definitely then call us, email us, and talk to our leaders. And of course, we can help there.
Yeah.
Sure, sir. And to the audience, please stay tuned for the next upcoming webinar, that is transforming retail returns and exchanges with AI for enhancing the efficiency and the customer experience, scheduled on October 9th. So see you soon again. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Good
Amina.
night and
Thanks
have a
for
good day,
having us.
everyone. Thank you. Wonderful
Thanks,
day.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for joining.